Hello and welcome to the video. We're going to talk about the leadership of Valimar City. I'm doing a Dungeon 23 inspired challenge where I create a campaign over the year. It's going to be heavily dungeon focused, but it's not going to be a dungeon written every day like original guideline suggests that you do. The goal of the Dungeon 20 challenge was to get people creating, and this is getting me creating, and I've been really enjoying it. This is from the first stream that we did, and we are focusing on Valimar City, which is the capital city of the island that the campaign is going to be set on. I'm using Nord Game books, and they're full of random generation for content, and I'm loving them. I've used it to create content before, and I've even published it on my Patreon. Oh, by the way, I have a Patreon. If you'd like to check it out, you can check out the links down below to my Patreon. Let's go ahead and get into creating the leadership for Valimar City. Here we go. We're on to the government and high society. This is where it gets really interesting, my friends. Let's see how they do leadership. Well, I was thinking about the premise of this capital. I was trying to stop myself from figuring out what the leadership was ahead of time. I really wanted to roll for it. So yeah, I tried to keep an open mind and didn't try to pre-plan the leadership, so I could try to work around everything that's here. I know I wanted to have to do something with high magical nature. So I don't think there's any roles here that will conflict with that idea. Here sets the first big tone for the whole campaign. No pressure or anything. So D100. I rolled 61. Okay, military officer. The capital is controlled by a current or ex-leader of a military group. They may have been elected or taken control by force, such as part of a coup. I get to decide if it is through military force that he won that, or if he did it through election, or some other reason. Pretty much didn't give me any direction whatsoever other than he's a military guy. Which is fine. I can work with that. Yeah, so let's see how people are handling this leader they got here. Are those in charge, along with their executors and subordinates, presenting a unified front, or do they appear divided? Roll on the following table to learn how unified the rulership is. That will kind of give me some kind of inclination about how I'd like to describe how this leader came to power. So let's see what this is. The leadership unity. D20. 5. Strained. Tension can be felt in the room, and overly polite disagreements are frequent. Okay, we'll work with that. My first thought was council. This military guy rose through the ranks, got elected on the council, first military guy to ever have that happen to, and then he got made leader. And so the people on the council are weary of him because he is a military guy and he's not from the typical class that becomes part of the leadership. Alright, so I think that's why they're strained, unless they come up with something later. This is the best idea, is that the leader is not typically from the background for the leadership. Next part, governing priority. What does the leader want to do? I have no specific ideas in this regard. I was also going to try and leave this open, so I'd be a little bit open-minded and try to just go with it. Don't necessarily want it to be religious, but we can make it religious. I already have some secrets that I'm not going to talk about on screen in case this ever gets played by anyone. Oh yeah, governing priority. It's a D10, and it's a 3. They're isolationists. That's interesting because that actually goes against one of the things I wanted to do. Maybe that could be the tension. Heck, I'm going to roll with it. Here's the working theory, because this city is that the people that were ruling the city paid adventurers to destroy the curse that was isolating it 10 years ago. So this military officer comes in, rises in the ranks. He's an isolationist, so he wants it to be closed off again. So he's has a strained relationship because of that, as well as being outside of the normal background. So that's why he has a strained relationship with the leadership. Alright, so let's roll for the approach. How is the leader trying to isolate the capital? 6. Ooh, they're aggressive. There's going to be a lot of tension. It is moderate. Alright, now let's see if they are succeeding, failing. How are they doing on achieving their isolationist goals? It's a D20. 19. Wow, they're very successful. This is going to be a very interesting campaign. The leadership has made great strides at achieving its initial vision and looks like their success will continue. Alright, the military leader is very successfully isolating the government from the outside world. And this may have nothing to do with the campaign at the end, but at the very least, this is the background for the setting for what the PCs are going to be dealing with. So things could be moving and shaking in the background. They might have nothing to do with it, but it might still affect the campaign in some way. Or we could use it as a direct story component, and they could be involved, and there could be they could foil an attempt at assassination. They might try to change the military officer's mind or save his life, so he has to, be open. Or maybe the adventurers decide they want it to be isolation, so they help out the leader. Who knows? All right, so lifestyle and residence. How do those in power live their life? It says a lot about them and their values and may influence their immediate surrounding area. We can glean interesting information about those people by looking at how they live, lifestyle, where they live, residence, and why they live the way they do, intent. I do councils a lot. Let's just do he's the de facto ruler and figure out how he got there later. So there's only one leader. There will be a nobility, though. So I guess it makes sense there'll be one leader. Alright, so let's see what their lifestyle's like. 7. Respectable. The leader's lifestyle is unassuming but comfortable, or appropriate to one in their position. Okay, that makes sense for a military officer. Council of non-isolationist rulers, and one guy who used to be in said council, and now he started his own uprising against the council to make them isolationists. Yeah, I'm going to copy that down. I like that. Thank you. I think I'm going to note that it was a political coup. No bloodshed was done, so the tension isn't as palatable as if it was a literal military coup. So I think I'm going to work with a political coup is how he is now the leader. And what kind of residence does the leader or leaders live? Roll once on the table below for each leader your settlement has. I don't want them to be living outside the capital. I kind of think it should be a palace. Regardless if I choose, if there is a palace, he doesn't necessarily have to live in it. So this will just be which houses he currently live in. He could own multiple. Yeah, okay. So D10. 5. Small estate inside the capital. So here's the fun bit about this. Tells us how he lives, tells us where he lives, but also has us roll to see if he's hiding the fact of what he's doing to hide an ulterior motive. So like if he's living humble, but he was negative and it was deception, the individual would not typically live this lifestyle, but is doing so out of selfish motives or because they are somehow being forced into this lifestyle against their will. So it could be like huge like crime lord that is super rich, but he actually has to live a humble lifestyle so he is more favorably viewed or he'll lose his leadership. So yeah, I think intent causes a little bit of friction. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to roll a d20. 14. The individual would not typically live this lifestyle, but is doing so out of selfish motives or because they are somehow being forced into this lifestyle against their will. Oh, maybe he wants to be an isolationist, so he's living this respectable military lifestyle, but in secret he wants to be an ironclad dictator and with an iron fist and kick everyone else out. I don't know, I was just spitballing. But then he'd turn into a bad guy, which is fine. I'll write this down for now. I might not use it. Military leader is living a nice, respectful life as a leader, but is secretly working to take more power and live a life of extreme wealth and privilege. I don't know. Sounds good for now. Check on chat for a second. Guy went from riches and blew his whole money trying to make this uprising happen, and now there's a small side of him full of frustration and bitterness because of it, leading him to potentially not the best type of thinking. If players step in, he can come to terms with this and become a figure they can rally behind. Oh, that's a nice thought. That makes him less bad. Add that to the list of ideas if you don't mind. So we have now rolled up the leadership of Valimar City, and we can continue from there. We came up with some really good ideas. So basically the guy could either be the big bad guy at the end, or there could be a redemption arc for him. He's a military leader. We haven't actually named him yet. Although I did decide after the stream that we're probably going to make that kind of like the final battle of the campaign, where it's going to be choose a side between the isolationists and the non-isolationists. And we'll see how we get there. It's still a work in progress. But we learned a lot from randomly generating and talking with chat. And if you guys have any ideas, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. It's an interactive medium, and I love getting ideas and workshopping with people. So if you like the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I will be doing these videos on no regular cadence. My primary content is LARP, and I will be continuing to do LARP on a regular basis, and I will be putting out these videos when I can. If you like to catch the live stream, I believe my regular streaming day is going to be Wednesday, but I haven't decided a time. If you want to find out, a link to my Twitch channel is in my description if you want to check that out and follow me there. Thank you, and until next time, keep on LARPing.